Hey everyone, sorry that took a minute. We were running into glitches, but we made it. It's lovely to be here with you all. It's lovely to see you all show up in the chat from all over. I am in a bit of a wow moment as I happened upon an interview that was done on a Britain morning chat show 4 days ago, in which a woman is speaking very openly about being an Arcturian starseed, and the interviewers show no hint of mockery or scorn, and her message is able to be delivered. And there's more to this story. For me personally, in terms of processing my own shadow, for years I have seen myself doing exactly that. And you can imagine I kind of blew it off as like, well, you know, the collective is not ready for that. And apparently they are. So this is a really, just amazing moment where I imagine like Van Leeuwenhoek, the inventor of the microscope, who innovated that technology, that instrumentation to be able to see another level, another dimension of reality that cannot be seen with the physical eyes. I know for a fact he went through being mocked and scorned and feared for what he was able to see initially. And you've probably heard me use this analogy many times. Of course, now microbiology underpins our entire healthcare system worldwide. So we are just now beginning to cross that threshold with multidimensionality and the concept of there being multiple star systems, star beings, dimensions. But of course, what is so important to remember is that we are a multidimensional being, and we have the amazing ability to do inner tech transfer of the multidimensional self and bring all of that wisdom to bear. So what is coming in on the heels of this development, and there's no coincidence that I happened to see it like 30 minutes before our live today, is that this is in rapid motion now. And for humanity to stop looking outside of themselves for help, like somebody will help us out there, and to really step forward and bring what we have been all along forward, which is really what the whole point of the Higher Love Alchemy series has been. Certainly what we demonstrate when we come together in global service like we did yesterday on Solstice, and going forward with the Higher Love family that I was directed to create, that we will continue to do well into the future. And so really here we go, right? We've been, what I'm being shown now is that it's kind of like we've felt a bit far flung, like here and there in pockets of different efforts, and yet it is felt like there is a disconnect between where the collective is at and where we clearly have moved ourselves into, right? Anyone else not the same being from 20 years ago? We've been braiding in, I've braided in way beyond even this universe at this point, right? As we undergo this type of ascension that is reclaiming from outside of these structures. And so what I'm being shown now is it can feel like we're still in the old world, and what wants to come through as like part of this integration today is please understand that you are the new world, right? What came through in the solstice is like we are literally unfolding reality and worlds from within. And so if you're up in your intellect trying to run everything through your intellect right now, don't forget to drop into your heart and run everything through here. Yeah, and you connect into your much greater multidimensional self, and you begin processing at such a different level. Now, what I'm being shown is also in the conversation we're having here, to begin letting go of an identity or attachment to even being a certain starseed, and letting yourself expand out beyond that. That will have its place for sure. It will still operate in the same way. I will have this human form and I will carry it through, and I won't literally shapeshift, not that I know about anyway. No one's put that on my radar as something that's going to happen in this lifetime. And so you will have your identity that you'll be working with, but it's one of many. It's one of a composite, essentially. And so the invitation today in this afterglow and integration is to really consider this movement back, like we did yesterday, into the source self of being the one of all, and what can come through in different composites and different constellations. That one is the all, right? But then I'm being kind of shown, like, what if you put 7, 9, and 11D selves together and brought through something like a graft? I'm hearing there's some really innovative multidimensional responses to the systemic issues that continue to plague this reality system. And by systemic, we don't just mean in your physical density, but in the structure of living creation, the architecture itself. And so while this can seem really advanced and you might be having a moment of like, I don't know if she's talking to me, we're talking to the multidimensional being that you are. And almost like I'm being shown, when an event happens and you need triage and you need a lot of resources, it's what can get called in where and in what timing. And so this service component that we ended up doing after all of the higher love, amazing alchemy we've been doing on Solstice, showed us that there's some amazing multidimensional technology that can be applied to systemic issues here. So I'd be really curious to hear. So that was just all off the top. Woo! I just am laughing and having a moment because I'm like, I thought we we're just gonna like debrief a little, and yet here comes in this big new development of starseeds being talked about publicly on a morning chat show. You know, the next guests are like from the Bridgerton show and other popular pop culture, and you're just like, there's no way that was not orchestrated at a higher level. So I'm assimilating that in the context of what we're being told today to really bring forward and your own multidimensional everything, and allow yourself to kind of catch up with the reality that we've clearly entered. So with that in mind, what I would like to do now is go back and just hear about some of the things you've experienced, whether it's been in the Higher Love Alchemy series, those 8 transmissions, and then especially yesterday for the solstice. So some people on socials have commented this morning and let me know what they experienced. This is a great time to do that here as well. Yeah, so you've never resonated with being from a certain star system, and yeah, people would ask me, you just have no idea. It's really what I was shown years ago is, you know, the old typewriter ball with all the letters. We're like that. We, you know, this oversoul and then beyond, and you have all the different fractal expressions in different forms across many different star systems. So, you know, I've had amazing intertech transfer from my Arcturian self. The Arcturian is called the Lotus Keeper, and he worked with me a great deal in 2016, 17, and really advanced my clearing capabilities. Andromedan aspect, Syrian, Lyran, we could go on, and then we start getting beyond form into some other higher orders, right? And getting into the primal sound fields. Oh, thank you. Yes, going galactic today. I'm wearing the blue for my indigo, my indigo construct that I work through here, Indigo 1, doing all the, and beyond now, the Blue Azurites Templar security team for the Universal Templar, maintaining evolutionary pathways for all. Then we get into the Braha Yanas, all the Yanas orders, the Emerald Order, the Amethyst Order. I work with those two quite a great deal these days. Yeah. So yeah, I'm still integrating, having seen that on the morning chat show, like, wait, what now? Like, we're really doing this? We're not just going to do this on the YouTube channel? Like, is this going to start going out to more and more people? And I should say that, you know, all the events I was prepared for the last 5 years have ticked the boxes like clockwork in terms of conflict on the planet. And so I do feel that we, in the next, I don't know, year to 3 years, will probably go galactic, right? We're finally going to self-reveal that to ourselves as a collective in one way or another. There are many different ways that can happen. And it's been a soft launch. I follow a lot of that disclosure news, and they've been soft launching it quite a bit. So it's really just a matter of time now. Kind of like the scientific revolution, again, with the microscope. Can you imagine if that was never invented and we didn't understand bacteria, we didn't understand viruses, we didn't understand any of that, you know, the progression wouldn't continue. So it's just kind of a natural evolution that we're in that has been more or less interfered with at different times for different reasons. And nobody likes to be mocked or scorned. So that was a brilliant move, is to put all of it under the, that's ridiculous and nut job territory hat. Yeah, so I'm just reading the chat. If anyone wants to share what you experienced on Solstice yesterday, I would love to hear that, or just in general, more from the Higher Love series. One thing that came through yesterday that I thought was very interesting is how we receive information and downloads, and then we, this individual identity construct that we are, is tasked with bringing this out, putting collaborations together, bringing it into the world of form. And that is the Higher Love Family membership program that I announced yesterday, and that I'll be talking about for the next 2 weeks straight. We begin our first live webinar on July 4th. So if you don't know, if you weren't there yesterday, essentially Higher Love Family is what I was directed to create beginning at the end of April. I see how well we put it all together. I mean, this wasn't even a thought I had at the beginning of April. And so those 8 transmissions of Higher Love Alchemy got put together while we're in this next big solar shift, and the plasmas are coming through in this amazing ascension window that we're in flow. And now we are beginning to actively build out the new structures. And so Higher Love Family is just that. It's the idea is live webinar for the first 3 weeks of every month. And the first week will be a lot of what the Higher Love Alchemy transmissions were. It'll be these incredible activations and upgrades. And I mean, I don't really even feel like I have a box or a label for them anymore. It'll just be multidimensional magic, let's call it that. And then the second week will be another live webinar where we'll do this. We'll hang out in Afterglow and integration, be like, whoa, what just happened? And it's really good for me too, because I am not bringing this through from my local level of consciousness. And so it's nice to have a place to really start to debrief, integrate, synthesize, and kind of thread together and weave together more of this in the local data bank, if you will, because this is where we are building things out, right? We aren't meant to, I always harken back to my year on the mountain in North Carolina, like go just live on the mountain and just be there. It's really about going up into these expansive states and then bringing it into the world of form and creating new constructs here, wherever you happen to be in whatever domain that is. Even if it's just your family, you don't necessarily have to start a huge movement, right? I always want to remind people application is where you are. Third week is another live webinar where we'll do something like we did Solstice yesterday and put all of this amazing work into planetary service and beyond. And then there are some tier upgrades for people who want a little more support, small group coaching and private session and private day and all that great stuff. So it's just this beautiful, vibrant space to go check all of that out. And I realize I'm talking all about it. And for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, I will put it in the chat and then you can open it and look at it after we wrap up here today. Okay, let me catch up with the chat because I see that a whole bunch of comments came in. All right, what do we have? You haven't been able to stop smiling since the middle of May. Yeah, yesterday was amazing. Yeah, I couldn't stop smiling through that. I just felt like such a little kid. There's nothing like source field, source one, the one love, right? Just be that. You don't even have to talk. And you move through a lot of triggers and baggage, yeah. And if anyone is on the divine complement journey like I am, you'll know it's an odd thing, whether you have found the person that is that or not, or you're not even sure, it doesn't even really matter. It's like what gets brought up through this process, just like we've been doing with the transmissions and all the shadow is, it's eye-opening, right? Yeah. Yesterday was unbelievable. You got immense personal clearing and felt like a completely different being afterwards. Yeah, the light beams, the pillars of light were such an incredible experience. You didn't sleep till 3 a.m. Yeah, so I posted on socials today. I passed out for 2 hours afterward. I heard from somebody else they passed out for 3. Then I just laid down at 5 or 6 at night, and I was like, I just couldn't stay awake. And I finally just surrendered, and I just slept for 12 hours. So there was a lot of amazing things that went down. Whoop, lost the thread here. Yesterday was focused about bringing the awakening to the next density layer, watching the shadow transcend. Yeah, I'm policing the universe. Spanner gates came online today again. Yeah, I got called in, Corey, to spontaneous work. I don't know, Tuesday initially, I think. It's hard to keep track, doesn't even really matter. And they actually shut down all my tech. It glitched out, so I couldn't focus. And then I realized, oh, I need to work on a different level, right? So yeah, lots moving. Jenny, you're seeing hearts everywhere, shadows, cloud formation, signs all over the place. Yeah, a Jeep drove by the other day. It had love on it. I'm seeing hearts in the trees too, in the clouds. It's beautiful. During solstice, a new breath came through for your breath work. I am beautiful breath. That's beautiful. A lot of releasing since yesterday. It's time to quit hiding. Get out of there. Yeah. You know, you feel like Benjamin Button. That's awesome. You know, I'll share this. Seeing that interview just earlier, right before I got on, where the woman just says Arcturian starseed, right? I was talking very openly about that. And then I had this realization that these visions I've had for years of being on these kinds of talk shows is about to start happening. So something really interesting happened. My mid-back spasmed. I've never had it, never experienced anything like that. I literally doubled over in pain, and I had to lie down, and I drank some hydration, stuff. Got this great powder for that with electrolytes. And I just realized, wow, is my body having a response to this? So we don't really realize what we're sitting on until we're faced with it. I think I've just discounted this moment because it seems so far from where the collective had been. So I just share that with you. I mean, that literally just happened to say, wow, as we move through this, we may have said for years, we really want this all to happen, but understand body protective mechanisms, all sorts of things will probably start to unwind themselves and present themselves. So I hope by me sharing that, that's helpful. We say it's time to come out of hiding, but, get called out of hiding at the next level, and your body may have a very real response. I mean, mine sure did. Okay. Your thought forms have slowed way down. The soul tech we brought through in the series is soul shifting. I feel this ability to rekey in a way. Yeah, rekey is a great word. Yes, I love that the solstice offering felt like the capstone to the series. Absolutely. That's absolutely what I felt. The sky has a lot of messages for you. And you felt energized and in sync. Yeah, because we're not in a separation consciousness. We were in the all that is, right? And it really cleared out your second and third chakras. Felt open and light, but exhausted as well. Yeah, the exhaustion, I will say my human self even came online at one point after the 3 pillars of light braided and started to do the white rainbow plasma work. I had this moment of like, whoa, guys, not too much. I didn't want to fry everybody out. So I think, there is a greater intelligence that runs that. But even I, out of my human was like, hello, don't blow people out of their sockets. So hopefully, yeah, somebody, you didn't go to bed till 3 a.m. either. Yeah, clearly it just lit us up. And much clearing for those who are solely focused on money rather than community or love. Interesting. Completely awakening the next density layer and felt that we have policing the universe too. That's interesting. So a lot of clearing was done for people focused on survival programs rather than seeing the ultimate currency, right? Which is and always has been love. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, so a lot of you got like, you got vibrated, right? Really high. You're like buzzed and turned on until 3. Yeah, there's a lot of energy that moved through. The pillars and the braid geometry felt like a DNA template. It was so powerful. Yeah, that's interesting. As I feel into that and I feel into that work, as the 3 primal sound fields came together to do reclamation work, and actually the reclamation is an imprint, is what I'm being shown now. So all those touchstones that you all created, bringing through the 3 primal sound fields and the 3 overlapping circles I always show. That's return to base code, going all the way back. I think that came through in 1819. Yeah, it's like it created an imprint. I'm starting to lose the ability to speak to it in the human language. So that's about where I'll leave off with any further, insight into that, because now I can tell my whole field's just starting to go somewhere else. Oh, you're welcome. Releasing the family offering. Yeah, it's good timing, right? Yeah, I mean, leave it to the greater forces to get me lined up. And I mean, they were just like, this has to be put together. And so my daughter and I worked on it for the last 3 weeks straight, and it's more beautiful in terms of the colors and the imagery than I had even conceived of. So it's amazing when we allow ourselves to be the instruments of the divine, what will come and put itself together here in the physical. And this is just the beginning, Oh yeah, it's the full moon and all too, right? Yeah, beautiful. All right, and now if anyone wants to do any Q&A, this would be a great time to do it. Clearly, we've all been through a tremendous amount of energy work and beyond. Like, the word energy just doesn't seem like enough, does it? And I'll see if there's anything else that wants to self-clarify. By now you have gathered that the demands on the physical body will be somewhat extreme in the coming months ahead. This is a marathon, not a sprint, so we would encourage you to balance. It's exciting, yes, and we'll say it again, balance. For some of you, this will be forced rest time. So this is making me think of naps for toddlers who don't want to nap. It's like, here's the space of time for which you will have downtime, And so the balance is key going forward. Yes, there are pulses like we've been through, and now rebalancing. So that, I think we all know this, so that the body has time to assimilate and integrate. And I'm trying to find what happened to the chat. There it is. Okay. Yeah, I could tell everybody's a little bit like, woo. I know I'm still feeling that, especially after what I just went through with my back. Really interesting. So I will be getting more information on that in the hours and days ahead. I will be sure to share it on my blog, what I learn as we go through this. And yeah, I mean, here we go. Here's the beginning of a beautiful era. Will it be probably a little bit intense at times, especially for the collective? Continue to be intense for sure. But it's also just a beautiful, exciting time when it comes to innovating multidimensional solutions to just a beautiful reclamation and restoration project. I keep looking at the beautiful original artwork I have. It's in my line of sight. I feel like I'm just going to go get it and show it, because I feel like it's just perfect for this moment of what we're doing here. I know many of you have seen me share this before, but for those of you who haven't, so look at this beautiful piece. Got this in Montana. This was all done with gunpowder, if you can believe it. And so there's the grid, there's the reality, right? and yet do it where there isn't glare. And like, look at what's coming through. Just let you see that. It's called Behind the Grid. And the artist is KJ Conway. So here we all are, bringing through our multidimensional awesomeness. You're not a nap person. You're a go-go person. I have taken time to relax, quiet your mind, and yes, doze off for a wee bit. Yeah. Yeah, I've been kind of referring to it as go time versus it's no-go time. No-go, it's a no-go. It's rest. COVID forced you into rest last week. You feel at peace and all is well. After a big upgrade, your body sometimes feels almost a grief for what you're letting go of. Yeah, I can completely relate. Can you describe what inner tech transfer is for those who are new to these capabilities? Sure. So I'll use my Lotus Keeper Arcturian self, since the Arcturians just got like an international press moment. What? So we're here on this planet developing our technology. Other beings are on different planets and different star systems developing theirs. We could, I was going to do this, but we're not really walking. We could get on our little ships and, visit one another. Or the individual fractal here remembers that it's part of a larger multidimensional structure. So let's just go to the oversoul level. Even here, we can do that. 12 humans share the same oversoul here, connect with them here on this planet. Go beyond that, we're in the thousands of fractals. And one of them is the Arcturian Lotus Keeper. And these beings made their way to me, okay? So they were already connected this way and highly networked and leveraged in that way. And as a human in 2016-17, these beings started making their way to me. And it's like, yes, we share your oversoul. We have technology. You can be yours. We could do inter-tech transfer. I was like, what? And then they would transfer the tech because it's seamless, because we share the same structure. And then their abilities became my abilities. And I went, what? And then I went, oh, this passion of mine about human evolution, this is how we're going to evolve and like radically evolve the human species. Not like a little bit of evolution, but like a lot. And then I had a mantid aspect show up, and I was a little bit like, I don't know about you. I haven't heard good things. He was like, you're wise to be discerning. He was very serious. And it was all about clearing negative entities and thought forms and other junk out of people's fields. So all that came in. So really set your barometer for love or above, because we also have, I've had reptilian defectors come to me and give me all their intel so that I could do grid work here, who share my same oversoul. It's a big ecosystem. So you want to set your parameter to love or above, and you can connect with another fractal in another star system, where they have really advanced consciousness-based technology, healing technology, and probably other innovations. Mine has mainly been focused on consciousness, but I can imagine, you can run the gamut. And then that all is here at your disposal, right? I hope that's helpful. I can further clarify if you need more examples. When you feel your masculine and feminine out of balance, what's my go-to practice or geometry to realign these aspects of ourselves? I'm struggling between rest and action and not knowing the next. Yeah, let me feel into that, because I feel like there's more to unpack there. Not knowing the next step, yeah. Okay, so what I sense is that there's the reason why there's that struggle and that swirl, and I can relate to this, is because we're trying to operate out of our old programming, the way we were conditioned to show up as humans in a very like linear, here's A, B, and C of what I'm doing today, when our greater fields are starting to run a completely different operating system, which requires a very different mindset, which is, okay, I may have an idea of what I'm doing today, but I will be in my center and I will be in constant contact with the field. And if a sudden twist or a turn needs to happen, I have enough neuroplasticity to do that. I have enough flexibility. So if like yesterday, you know, I thought I was going to be doing certain things, and all of a sudden I realized, whoa, no, it's going to be all systems down. I just have the flexibility to let go of everything and do that. Or it could be more action oriented. So it's really letting go. It's more about how it's an operating system question. So letting go of trying to run everything through the mental and expanding back out and feeling, and then judging based on that. I mean, even down to like, I have, you know, I live in a small town in Oklahoma, so I got like two options for coffee shops, you know, and it's like, but some days it's like, nope, not that one, this one. You know, it's down to that granular level of feeling your way forward versus kind of what wants to be addressed right now versus like a wholesale, like feminine is rest and masculine is action. It's a little more nuanced than that. It's like balancing on a ball, you know, it's being in your embodiment that way. So you're constantly feeling versus look, mind. The mind says, had an idea of what it's going to do today, and darn it, I'm going to stick to that plan. This does feel like a profound beginning, Wendy. It does. Yeah, I've never felt quite what I'm feeling these days. You've experienced a lot of endings this year and are so ready for the new. You were also up till 3. You guys were all hanging out, you're partying together. We should have had the 3 a.m. Solstice after party. I did wake up at 3 now that I think about it. And I was like, yep, no, going back to bed. The inner tech transfer is awesome. Yeah, it's our galactic easy peasy lemon squeezy button. I love that. Yeah, the 7s. They've been hanging out, David. It's interesting. It moved around, but today it went back to all 7s. Yes. This is a beginning and more to come. More about deflectors. How would that work? Oh, defectors, defecting. So I had a reptilian, like high up commander come to me, like need quarantine, need safety. It's kind of like when they leave the mafia, they need protection. And then just gave me all the intel, all the understanding so that I could do grid work I needed to do. It's interesting. So sometimes I've seen this a lot with regressives. They, because of the culture is so dog eat dog, it's what we kind of picked up on, I think, in one of the afterglows of being left behind and being completely expendable. Like they just don't give a shit about one another. So it's that sort of thing. And evolutionary pathways are opening up. So a lot of these groups are finding their way forward now, and they don't have to kind of like, I use the Star Wars analogy, just work for the New World Order as like a drone soldier. You know, they can have their own pathway. What is my go-to method to step into true power and full authority over self? Immediately what came in is look for more harmony. So remember, self is you have a body. And if you haven't seen some of the prior afterglows, you want to go and listen to those, because we talk about this a great deal. The body has its own survival-based consciousness. And so we want to really work with that to harmonize it, to bring it onto the team so that it feels heard and its fears are acknowledged. They're not, you know, punted as being ridiculous. It's really common when you've got a soul that's used to being in some really evolved spaces to get pretty judgmental over the body's consciousness, you know, and be really harsh and not very loving. And yet, you know, that is not unconditional source loving consciousness, is it? I mean, I've dealt with a lot of very high dimensional beings, even, you know, 11D, 12D, and they, listen, you can be an a-hole all the way up there, you know, Just because you have amazing technology and evolutionary advances doesn't mean you've made it all the way home to unconditional love. So that came in really strongly. So true power is source unconditional love. And that's what we brought through in the solstice meditation. And there's nothing like it. And then working with that here is just acknowledging that the body consciousness that has to see us through our days and get us safely to and from and around, the planet deserves respect. And then when it feels heard and it can be safely put to rest and given a downtime like we did yesterday, the true self, the true source field comes through, because that's what's been there all along. So I hope that's helpful, just kind of getting everything working in harmony. And it's not a one and done. It's going to be just constant. I mean, that's why this zoomed out, expansive, on the ball, constantly balancing is how we achieve balance. Just like, the story I've told of being a kid and loving to get on the teeter-totter with a friend and see if we could evenly balance it. Once in a while, we could sit and it was just where we didn't have to do anything. For the most part, you're constantly adjusting. So that's what's being shown to me very clearly here, is changing from a mindset of like, I just run all the old programs and just do old default mode, to I'm just constantly paying attention and attenuating. Yeah. How can we help and support regressive entities? Okay, immediately what I'd like you to do is go behind the question and check in with your motivation. Check the motivation. Everyone can do that. You'll all get different answers, is what I'm being shown, slightly different answers. And then the broad general answer is by respecting them as a source fractal with their own path to walk, and not judging them, shaming them, throwing psychic darts at them, but also not attempting to potentially rescue them as well, allowing them to walk their path without judgment. Putting the innerved aspects and parts to rest was so powerful. Yeah, the enervated, all the busy thinking and the body that runs survival got to just, be like, oh, I'm off duty. Okay, great. Yeah. It's the, Claire, it's the closest thing I think we get to that type of shift that we allowed ourselves to God consciousness. Yeah, I'm being told, yes, that would be aligned. And that's what, I don't have the books up here right now, the master's books talk about, is that level of consciousness is like remembering you are source. You are God. Not God with a small g running around playing Lord over the dominion. Nothing even close. It's becoming the no thing of unconditional love while in form. It's pretty exquisite. Yeah, in fact, I'm being told, because I've been talking about the Arcturian so much today, they're on the line, and they're telling me that this is the underpinning of all of your future technological advancements. Is remembering on some level that you have God consciousness, and then what can come through that, through your unique forms, right? Whether you're an Arcturian and you've got that race going and all the ways they've evolved and developed their systems, or you're human. And I think we can all agree the human race is very diverse and has a lot of different beings here at this time, Yeah, that technique gave the experience went way past knowledge. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and then, like There's the integration right there. You can feel it. I can still speak, but there's a lot more going on, isn't there? Yeah. And bringing this out into the world of form. Definitely the afterglow. Wow. Well, it looks like things are slowing down. I really enjoy spending some time here with you all. And I think we'll do another one next Friday. I think there's a lot more to integrate still. And we'll see what else I'm called to do and what comes through. And of course, the Higher Love family is there for you all. I made it $33 a month just so that so many people around the world can participate very easily, and we can keep all of this beautiful ascension momentum going and bridging. You're welcome, Jenny. Thank you, everyone. I love you all. Share some love in the chat as you go out into the world, whether you're going to go take a nap or my daughter and I are going to head down to one of those coffee shops and enjoy bringing more of this out to you all. Yeah. Here's to the best is yet to come. I love you.